the one hope, the only hope, The Exorcist.
The Exorcist was directed by William Friedkin, and it stars Linda Blair, Ellen Bernstein, Jason Miller, and Max von Sydow. And the story follows Reagan, a young girl who is possessed by a mysterious entity, and then her mother seeks for help of these two priests to save her daughter. The Exorcist was released in 1973, and it has a reputation for being one of the scariest films of all time.
No, possibly the scariest film of all time.
Yeah, audiences at the time were literally like fed to the dogs with this one, bro.
Dude.
Like, it was crazy.
I've seen stories of people literally walking out of the theater.
I'm not going back in there. I have a friend in there alone, and I don't want to leave her in there alone.
I'm not standing here shaking for nothing.
How about you?
It's very, very real. I don't like it. I want to go home. I want to see if it's going to make me throw up.
That is one of the most grossest movies in the world. I ain't never took my coat and hooded it over my face like that.
I thought it was very powerful. Just turned my mind.
Terrible. But I just found it really horrible. It just had to come out.
Yeah, because like at the time, this like the graphic content that's shown in the film was like new at the time. Because before this, we had films like, of course, we had Psycho and stuff like that, and that happened in the 60s. But for whatever reason, horror directors in the 70s were just like it's like they were almost given permission to like cross boundaries and break the rules a little bit. You got Jaws,
which is also a classic. Yeah, that's
Jaws, The Exorcist, movie. And all, and Alien freaking came out too. That same decade too, and then before the 80s, and they just, but like yeah.
Then you got the constant moving trend of zombie movies and stuff like that, pretty much throughout all time.
Yeah, and good thing Warner Bros. Even greenlit a film like this, because I mean they could have easily said no. Like,
oh, dude, something like this it's not your typical horror movie at the time where it's like you said, Psycho. That's like a build up thriller, or not thriller, but like build up horror and stuff. This is like put you right in the action. They put you right there. The sets, everything about this movie is freaking nuts.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it sucks. It sucks to say that I was kind of like introduced to this movie late, because like I never really understood the hype around this film as a kid. Yeah, because like I knew the face of like Reagan, the possessed girl, from the Scary Maze game and the stupid chair video from YouTube back when YouTube started and all that stuff. So
Scary Maze game,
right? It's classic, but like. I finally wanted to see the film for myself and see if it was like worth the hype.
Yeah.
And so when I finally did, like for whatever reason, bro, like I would always stop the movie around the 5-minute mark, around that's around Iraq and stuff like that. And because like I wasn't like really that invested at the time because I was like a kid.
Well,
so it would shut me off real early. But later on, as time went by, I kind of like sat down and just like forced myself to watch it because it's known to be this cultural phenomenon that everybody says it is. And by the way, I love the film, by the way.
Okay, yeah. First of all, this film is, like I said, dude, this film is fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's super slow. Don't get me wrong. There are parts in the movie where it's real slow, especially in the beginning. I think building up to when she's fully possessed, she's in the bed, priest, everything, you know?
Yeah.
All that's when the movie starts really picking up. But other than that, the movie itself, it's paced pretty well. A bit slow, but it's pretty well paced.
Yeah. I never thought it was scary until I watched it last night. There was a scene so I watched the director's cut of this film, and I put it on, right? And I was taking my notes as I was watching it. And as I was writing, I look up, and it's that scene where she's crawling down the stairs. Yeah. But, like, it's not that part. It's the audio. The audio, and then the
sound design, it's deep.
Yeah, the mom was talking, but like before the shot happens, you hear the footsteps. And that's what really shook me. It sent chills down my spine. It was crazy.
The deep footsteps on the wooden stairs. You can hear like just banging and banging.
Oh yeah.
This little girl making all this noise, like she weighs like 300 pounds. Dude, it's nuts.
The film has this notion of like being like just about a girl who vomits and is possessed. And yes, there's a lot of that, but it's a lot deeper than that. Especially when like you get into like Father Karras's character.
Oh, dude, this movie, it builds him as a hero.
Yeah, like
it builds these men, these priests as like actual hero that the mother really depends on, and obviously bad stuff happens. So we'll get to that soon. And what I was going to say was an interesting fact about the stair scene is it's pretty much just direct for that director's cut.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It wasn't in the original cut.
That is correct.
Yeah, it wasn't in the original cut. It's specific for the director's cut.
Yeah.
So it's good that you watch it, dude. It's good that you watch the director's cut.
I love it because even the film, it opens with 2 shots that aren't in the theatrical shot.
Yeah.
Those 2 shots were inserted for that cut. Were meant to display the carnage that's going to take place before we cut back and forth from the priest to the daughters. But even that opening Iraq scene, it sets up the demon mythology, but it keeps you on edge because we really don't know anything. Like, it starts out with the pastor going to find this artifact.
Yeah,
we don't know what it is or why it bothers him, but for some reason, the film is directed in a way that
it makes you feel uneasy about what he's finding.
The atmosphere created by William Friedkin is just
it has freaking nuts.
It's insane.
It's
like
crazy, dude.
Like there's this sense of realism throughout the film, even when having to do with the characters.
Yes,
and they're written so damn well by the same guy who wrote the novel.
Yeah,
William Blatty was his name.
William his name
something Blatty. We'll get to it in a minute because I think I have it in my notes. The film tends to cater around themes around like guilt and like how we learn to cope with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of a story about redemption and accepting and learning to live with one's personal flaws.
Yeah.
And that had a lot to do with the Pastor Karras's character, even like when they're exploring his crisis in faith or the exploration of his problems going on with his mother.
Yeah.
And that all comes around by the 3rd act. And it's just excellent storytelling. Like,
and speaking of the mothers, the mother in the movie herself goes through this courageous little arc that she has.
Mm-hmm.
She's unaware. She doesn't want to believe all this stuff is happening to her own daughter, of all people, her own daughter.
It's insane.
And then towards the end, she starts her mental focus, everything, her belief, her faith, everything it's attacked.
And that's another thing too. Like I like how they wrote her character as this rich, famous person because it doesn't matter about your status or how much money you have. A situation like this
can happen.
Anything could happen to someone with any high status, like any status at all.
And for it to happen to her, and for her to find her faith once again, or to find faith in all this,
Yeah, because she's not religious at the beginning.
No, she's not. Not until the end when she realizes the power of God and all this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's kind of like awakening a little bit.
And it's a really nice arc, honestly, for the movie, and for a movie that's just full of surprises and really, honestly, a movie that makes you feel uneasy. I felt nasty, dude. I felt terrible watching this movie.
Yeah,
I watched it 3 times, and each time I watched it, dude, I felt uneasy.
Yeah, I saw the director's cut and the director's commentary.
Really?
There's a lot of things even the beginning of the Iraq scene, how Father Marin is walking and there's a carriage that almost hits him. The lady in that carriage was 109 years old.
Really?
Yeah. They did 6 takes in that scene, and she was gassed.
190 years old and 109 degree. Imagine that.
The film is based off of a true story, and that took place in 1949 about a 14-year-old little boy. And he went through the same thing like Reagan. He was innocent and was later possessed, but Linda Blair in this film.
Oh, dude, the acting itself in this film, from the child actors of all people, is freaking crazy.
Yeah, there's great performances throughout the entire film. Like, yeah.
Dude, there really is. And props to everybody who's involved in this movie, because this is, you would never, and obviously there's another one coming out, but I don't think there's anything that would ever top the...
This is definitely one of the greatest scary movies of all time. And it really changed the game for horror and filmmaking in general.
Oh, yeah.
This movie was nominated for like 19 Oscars. And they won 2. One for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Sound Design, I think. And the director, I don't know if you noticed, but when we're introduced to Father Karras' character, he's one of my favorite characters. He's my favorite character in the movie and probably horror movies. Dude. I love the arc he goes through, man. And it's so relatable too. Like, but the director set up all these shots for him that are, it always has to deal with a shot of him rising. I don't know if you saw that notion throughout the film, but it's always him rising, even when he dies. So like, he said that even through his death, it's like his spirit's rising. Yeah. So that was kind of like his arc throughout the film. Him finding his faith, him overcoming his issues, his situations, basically.
And you know what? For a movie that is pretty much about just evil and demon and stuff, there's a lot of good faith. There's a lot of good, like, themes of faith in this movie that really pick you up. Mm-hmm. Even though it's crazy, it's chaotic. There's always this feeling of like it's gonna be fixed, but at what cost? And who's gonna be fixing it, or what's gonna happen? How's it gonna work out? Yeah. Obviously, for some people it doesn't work out, but for the family themselves, it really comes together, and it's really good. I think this movie has one of my favorite endings of all time.
Oh yeah, same. I agree.
The ending to this movie is fantastic, and we'll get into that.
Of course. Too. So our main protagonist Melinda Reagan gets possessed, and shit starts to go down. But like, even through those sequences throughout the film, that plant the seeds before her her actual possession are scary as fuck,
dude. And I love the build up to it. It's not rushed, and it's not completely slowed down to where you want to turn the movie off.
Yeah, and I think that's a big problem with today's like possession movies and stuff. They just jump to the gun.
Yeah, it's rushed.
In this film, she's seeing all these psychiatrists, all these doctors, and then even when she is possessed, they still considering the possibility that she's just crazy.
Mental health and stuff. Yeah.
And but like,
man, dude,
even like the director William Friedkin, he did a good job of keeping the whole entire runtime on edge. Oh yeah, like everything felt so uneasy and off-putting, even during scenes when nothing's happening. Like there's a scene where Father Karras is jogging, and then he runs into that detective, and they're talking about that murder. Yeah, Burke Dennings, the director of the film that Ellen Bernstein's character is playing. Yeah, and. Yeah, like scenes like that, or like
scenes like when the priests show up and they're moving up the stairs. It's like a one shot. He goes to the door. He reaches for the door, and you don't know what to expect. You know what's in there. Yeah, but you don't see her. You don't hear her. It's nothing. You just see the priest's reaction. It's cold. The handle's cold to the touch. He opens the door, and it's a slow build up to what Reagan became. Yeah, which is this not even a girl. She's like a creature at this point, like a monster.
The demon's name was Pazuzu.
Pazuzu, yeah.
Yeah, but
which always got me. I love that name.
And it's an actual demon, too. So yeah, that was crazy. And
man, just from cinematography, build up, the direction itself in this movie is, man, I love it. I just love this movie so much. So the first time I saw this movie is I saw it real early because my parents forced me and my little brother to watch it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They sat us on the couch. They said, "Here, watch this movie with us." And we wanted to get up so bad.
They knew what the movie was?
They knew what it was. They knew what they were doing. They kept us on. I was crying. I had my hands over my eyes.
How old were you at the time?
Dude, I was young. I was like 5, 6. Dude, I was super young, man. Ever since then, like, I've always been really scared of the movie. I've always been terrified of it, but something deep inside of me just loves this movie.
Yeah, because it's not only a good horror film, but it's a great film in general.
Oh, it's a great, yeah.
And good to,
Most definitely.
and I'm so glad they got the writer from the book
Yeah.
to come write the screenplay for this, because if this was put in someone else's hands, I don't think it would have been executed the way it was in the film.
Dude, the writing in this scene it's fantastic.
It's really good.
The scenes that are created for the movie, just the scene where she comes down the stairs and she's standing in the room with all the people and she starts peeing on herself.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Dude, I don't know, it hit me. Dude, that scene hit me hard, man.
I think
it's scary as fuck.
I think the scene that really got to me, dude, was the crucifix scene.
Oh, yes.
And then she speaks in Burke Jennings' voice.
She's speaking,
confirming she murdered him.
You know what she did? Your canting daughter?
That was crazy.
Dude, it's freaking nuts. The when she starts speaking in tongue and the voice, the demon's voice coming out of her, it's unreal, dude.
Well, then let's introduce ourselves. I'm Damien Karras.
And I'm the devil. Now kindly undo these straps.
Dude.
Fun fact about the voice actor, she wasn't credited in this movie at all.
Yeah.
And she sued them and actually won the lawsuit too.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, wow, that's crazy because like she played a big part in that film. Obviously,
She really did.
and the demon itself was its own character.
Oh, dude, the demon and the look of the demon is so. Honestly, it's real interesting. The black and white, the
makeup
plain
is insane,
dude. It's real nice. And she didn't get the credit in the movie, and she also went through a lot while making this movie. She really did.
Oh, the actor, right?
The actor,
I
the voice
heard-
actor too.
Oh,
she
yeah.
went through a lot voicing this character, this mad character, this crazy possessed little girl, and I can't imagine.
Yeah, I like how the writer tends to play with your imagination because we never see when Burke Jennings dies, but they describe his death,
Yeah,
and you're visualizing what could have happened before it's confirmed.
yeah.
Especially when the mom comes into her room and sees the window open and stuff like that. It's insane, dude.
It's nuts, man.
And then I love whenever Father Merrin pulls up to the house. You see that iconic shot.
Outside, it's foggy, dude. The atmosphere in this movie, from every scene, from the Iraq scene, you feel the heat. You can see the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, the sand, everything, all the way up to the room. The color grading, it's like this blue tint, and it's real cold, and you can just feel it.
And speaking of the cinematography, for 1973, it's
great,
freaking
dude.
damn good.
It's freaking awesome, dude.
Halloween was released in the same decade,
Yeah.
like in 79, 77. And this one was in 73. It looks so damn good, but it was also a higher budget film with A-list actors and stuff like that. But the film looks incredible from the
Dude,
start.
it looks freaking... There's just something about it. That
And even
really
the
takes
opening
me.
scene, like I told you before we started the video,
Yeah.
like they were in Iraq and the weather was obviously insane.
Yeah,
it
unforgiving.
was 130 degrees and they were taking breaks in between takes.
Yeah.
Like it was insane, dude. And,
There's just something chilling about this movie that I can't get out of my head.
and then I've never been so hyped for in a horror movie moment like I have when Father Merrin asks Karras to leave the room.
Yeah.
And Karras is sitting down at the bottom of the steps, right? And he looks beaten, dude. He's beat up like from the exorcism.
Yeah.
And then that's when the mom comes in. I was just picturing the Rocky theme playing in my head. Dun, 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 dun. And then he goes back in there, but then he
Yeah.
gets possessed, and then he jumps out of the window, saving Reagan though.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And that's what I was talking about earlier, that he has this really nice heroic scene that I just love. Sacrificing himself for this child that he doesn't know is probably one of the most heroic things a man can do.
Yeah.
And for him to just jump right out the window, not double thinking it, he doesn't hesitate. He feels it. He jumps, rolling down the stairs.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little funny. But when he stops rolling, you just hope for him to get up.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
And it was so disturbing
Sad,
seeing him move his fingers
Yeah.
while his buddy's holding him. It's like, But it's like his faith was restored, and I mean, he's probably up there with his mom. So yeah, faith wins in this movie.
And like I said earlier, the themes of faith in this movie really they really build up all the way to the end, all the way to when he dies. You just know.
I even love the fact that the doctors eventually are they run out of resources and they're like considering an exorcism. Yeah. Most movies these days, they would just like
jump right to the exorcism, or
they would just doubt it. They're like, "Oh, that's crazy. That's nonsense." All these doctors, all these psychiatrists, nothing's working. Might as well take her to a priest. Yeah. And I love the fact that Father Marin pulls up to the house and he walks in, and then the demon screams, "Marin!" And then Father Karras comes to him, telling him all the background and stuff, and he's like, "I know what the situation is here. Like evil's present and stuff like that."
Like these are men of faith, real faith coming in to save the day, which I freaking love, dude.
Yeah, it was.
I just love it, dude. This movie itself is, I don't know, man. I can't praise it enough.
It's revolutionary if you think about it, in the horror genre especially. But
what'd you think about when she's laying in the bed and the head twist scene where her head goes 360?
So every time I watch that scene, I'm like, she should be dead. But it's fucking insane. Like, she
should be dead, but you gotta remember, it's not her.
It's the demon. Yeah.
It's this otherworldly figure that doesn't jive with our rules of reality.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed the wires whenever she was levitating. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was dope.
And you know what's crazy is you notice the wires, but you don't care about them.
Yeah, you don't.
Dude, that scene when the bed lifts up, the second it starts moving, dude.
Because that's the moment when your jaw drops. Yeah. And I think everybody back then just wasn't looking at the screen.
Dude, I can't imagine watching this in the theater as a child.
Dude, if all you grew up with was freaking Frankenstein and freaking Invisible Man, I would be too. Freaking Wizard of Oz and shit.
Yeah.
Fuck no, dude.
And, we're talking all this about the movie. There are some things in the movie that are less less appetizing.
Yeah.
To somebody who likes horror.
Oh, of course. It was
as a child talking about these, for the priest to,
vile things and stuff like that.
And all this. Dude, that shit.
The imagery is so disturbing too when it cuts back to that face and even that shot when she's on the bed and you see the statue of Pazuzu. It's just creepy, dude.
This whole movie's just, I'm like I said earlier, it leaves me with a feeling of I don't know, it just makes me feel nasty.
Yeah,
I feel like dirty watching this movie until
the vomit, dude.
It's nasty.
It looks like sludge, like slime.
Fucking
Nickelodeon.
It's been slime on stage. Yeah. So, 1 out of 5 stars. What would you give this movie?
It's one of my favorite movies, like scary horror movies of all time. It lives up to the hype. I definitely recommend anybody to watch it, especially if you're a horror fan. And
if you're a horror fan, or not even a horror fan, going into Halloween season, by the way, watch it. No hesitation, just watch it.
I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. But the highest I'd go is 4.
I was going to go 4. 4 flat, yeah.
4 flat. And all the pig noises. I don't know if you've heard of that. They use actual pig noises from the slaughterhouses and inserted for the demon voice and stuff.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
Just this whole movie's it's nasty, man.
And there's a lot of pushing shots too. It kind of sucks you into the story, the characters.
Especially when it's on Reagan herself and you see the makeup, dude. Oh shoot, the makeup. Everything about it, I don't know, man. When they push it on her face and scars, everything, dude.
Right.
It's
crazy because
just talking about it gives me chills.
The iconic theme.
Yes,
it's hardly even present in the film. Like, it's really not played that.
It's only reserved for 2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah.
When the ending, when the priest shows up, when he arrives, it's that real nice shot.
Remind of fact,
I think that's it. Just 2 scenes.
The most effective scenes didn't even have music.
No, it's all sound design.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that is, without music, in reality, you're put right into that, you're put right into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It just sounds, you're watching with surround sound and shit, dude. I can't imagine. Putting you right into this story.
It sucks you in.
Super unbelievable story. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I'm trying to think of the scariest scenes in the movie, and we've already talked about them. You know, crab walk down the stairs,
Yeah.
the head twist, the bed levitating off the ground, all that kind of stuff. Man, it just tickles me. It tickles me in a good way.
Yeah, it's just disturbing, especially
like
like
talking about this. You know, I'm getting scared.
What's the scariest moment in the film for you?
Bed lifting up.
Bed lifting up.
The bed lifting up, the imagery, the how she's above all the, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's down here at the bottom. She's above them. Like she's powerful.
She has superhero strength.
This demon is just freaking unbelievably powerful, especially compared to, you know, regular humans. It's just, man, it puts you in the scene, the sound design, everything's shaking, dude. Oof.
Yeah.
You can just feel the atmosphere. It's great.
What are you giving it? 4 stars, right?
I gave 4 stars. I would have given it more, but there are some scenes that are a little dated. You know, obviously for the time, this movie came out, what, like 50 years ago? But other than that, this movie's pretty much perfect.
It's a pretty damn good film.
Pretty damn good film, I tell you what.
Which I'm glad we reviewed, and I can't wait to review the sequel, Exorcist Believer, which is coming out next week, which we will be doing a review on.
Oh, I can't wait for that one too.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it. But yeah,
I feel like that's it.
That's it for The Exorcist, 1973.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
A quick, nice short review. My name's Steven Gomez.
And I'm Matt Lopez. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see what you guys want us to review next. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
This was Primetime Flicks. You guys have a good night. And watch out for Pazuzu.
Pazuzu.
Pazuzu.